Welcome back to Q Source's Northeast Wake discussion guide. It's Blake Anderson, Money Pit. This week I got a real treat. I've got the king in the house, the king of Northeast Wake. It's Andrew DiGiovanni Rio. So, of course, it's the king. We're talking about physical fitness, and we couldn't have anybody else on but the king of Northeast Wake. How many posts did you have last year?
Last year, logged in 241 first F beatdown posts.
My gosh, what's that an average per week? Did you calculate? Is it like
It's
like
something around 4.71,
gosh,
4.73.
dang man. Respect, dude. That's awesome. Wow. So, I think what's cool about this Q source material, I don't know if I've ever read a leadership book that talks about fitness. It's always about how you treat people, it's about making good decisions, but I really like this. And I think that's what's cool about the F3 community is that it ties this together, like our ability to lead other people, to be leaders in our community with our ability or with our desire to be physically fit. And I want you just to pick up where we left off before we started recording, just about how you think about physical fitness when it connects to our leadership.
Well, part of it is, from my point of view, I want to be there every day. And I take great delight and pleasure from having a good sized group out there. Whenever I
Mhm.
see people that you haven't seen in a while or your friends you see every day, it makes me feel good. And it makes me want to be at the workout and want to go as hard as I can. And so that's for me, that's a way that I like to build a kind of core consistency.
Okay. Yeah.
Some people can call it like FOMO,
Mhm.
but I want to be there and I want to give the best I can. So when you see others there, then you kind of get that external energy, from the packs. Maybe you're not having the best morning. Maybe you're fighting something. Maybe there's an ailment, but now your group's here. Okay. And you want to be able to set an example. And when I say that, I don't always mean doing perfect form squats or something like that, but
Oh, yes, you do.
the
Mr. Raw
example of
Americans.
energy, the example of energy and enthusiasm to see one another and the
Yeah.
camaraderie. So that kind of sets, the first bar, the first F.
Okay.
The second thing is, we're talking about consistency.
Yeah.
Okay, and everything we do there is a form of leadership. And what I mean by that is,
Yes.
I look around the circle as we're warming up, and I might think of somebody who has a really good post-workout stretching regimen. I want to keep that nugget in mind that today I should probably do a little stretching. Or I think of somebody who has a nice, maybe pre-workout. It's something they do that I want to borrow. So many of the men that we work out with in Northeast Wake, I'm sure it's consistent, the same around the country, is that you're able to take and borrow different aspects of other people's routines and bring that into yours. And that's how you build your, I won't say brand, but you build your energy and your enthusiasm to be there. So, okay,
Well,
so
but then you also, just let me jump in here. I loved how you say consistency because we know who's consistent. You know who's there more than you. You know who's there less than you. And that commitment and that consistency speaks volumes to those men as leaders, not just in our group, but those men carry that into their communities as well because they make that choice to make fitness and their physical fitness a consistent part of their routine.
you, as a leader, this is an old axiom. You never want to ask anyone to do more than you'd be willing to do.
Yeah.
So if you're the Q or if you're the Pax who's just the most eager to run up the hill or do the murder bunnies that were just called or whatever it might be, you want to jump into it. And that's a style of leadership. Like again, by example, I don't mean sometimes a technical example, but by the enthusiastic gung ho example of wanting to
Mhm.
lead. Okay,
Mhm.
so there's that, and then a lot of that goes to the
Yeah.
um, mental leadership or the mental capacity to want to lead.
Yeah.
And that's do I need to be there tomorrow? Do I want to be there tomorrow? Like, who else is going to be there tomorrow? What will I miss if I don't go tomorrow? All these things kind of ring out throughout your mind. And so when you're there, or thinking about the week, you want to do small things to prepare. Now, the simple act I hear a lot about, which I don't even think about anymore, is like, oh, I need to put my clothes out the night before. Well, that's just part of my routine. But if that's
Mhm.
part of it, let that be it. You get the right attire for what you think the temperature is going to be. Often we're off by a few degrees, but you put your cold weather clothes out there. Make sure that you got the right shoes, everything. That way, you're going. You've committed. Um, before you go to sleep, you know what you're doing. And whenever I do the prayer at COT, I always talk about the old feet on the floor and out the door. I get that from a friend's father in high school, where he was a farmer, and at his summertime job, which was to help his dad, he would call him up the stairs and tell him to get out of bed, and he'd say, "Come on, come on! Once you got your feet on the floor, that's the hardest part." So there's a lot of days like that where I sit up, I just don't feel it, but once I plant, ready to go, and you just kind of turn it on. That, and the 5-10 minute drive helps get your mind straight too. You got to be mentally prepared. And that also, all those things come back to the first F, physical leadership in a group like F3.
Yeah, so yeah, that's good. Why do you post 260 times? I mean, what's the internal motivation for you to make fitness such a part of your life?
Well, I like to work out every day. Um,
But why?
why? Okay, well, this is back in 2010.
Hmm.
My wife and I went to a book signing by Alton Brown. He's a chef. You may have seen on Food Network. He's from like southeastern Georgia. Very very scientific, kind of cerebral chef guy. And so he was coming to Raleigh to sign one of his books that had to do with the show. And when he gets there, he looks fantastic. I mean, everyone had not seen him in a while on TV, so they see him the first time maybe, I don't know, in months, and everyone was like, "Whoa!" It's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And so the first question at the Q&A was about his appearance.
Wow.
And he said something that stuck with me. Now, I was probably just 35 at the time. I wasn't thinking much of this, but he goes, he had heard that the physical fitness you are in heading into age 50 is the best you're ever going to be. Like, that's what
Mm.
you are. And I know that we don't quite believe that to be true in F3, but at the time I thought, wow, that's quite a thing, 50, because I was looking and at slowing down a little bit, not being quite as quick, and now I have my whole 40s ahead of me. But that was something that really stuck with me. And so in the last couple of years, especially right now, as I head down the final few months, that 50 is sitting there, and I want to know what I can do, how I can be. Can I gain some flexibility? Can I gain some mobility? Can I continue to work on things that I know that I'm fighting the clock on? So that's kind of what drives as well. That's why you want to be there every day. And there are bigger things. You want to feel and look the best you can
Yeah.
for your loved ones, for your family. You want to be. I have a son. I know many of you have more children than I do, but you want to be there for them. We kind of hope this promotes longevity, but
Yeah.
you want to set good example. Um, you know,
Yeah.
like
That's I like that. I mean, if we're honest with ourselves, the people that we want to follow, the people that we revere, they carry themselves a certain way. They exude a confidence, and it's not just that they know something, but that they are something, that they have the stature of physical fitness, and it is communicating. Your fitness and your body posture is communicating to the people that you're leading. Maybe you're not just trying to impress someone, but you're trying to get them to say yes to follow you, and it matters.
and you can lead by example.
Yeah.
Especially here in my house, sometimes it's easier to lead by example than to lead by to lead verbally. Tell someone to do something or ask them to do something. If they see you doing it, they know you're willing. Um, then the third aspect is just I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I love being outside. There's so many small moments in the morning, looking at the
Mhm.
moon patterns, the star locations throughout the year. uh, we have so many like little parts of the moments of F3 that are unique and some of the best parts of our days, best
No
parts.
doubt.
They become best parts of your life, and
Yeah.
there has to be an element of, I mean, I won't call it addiction, but an element of it's catching. It's something you want to be a part of, and it's and we do it again. And if you miss it for you have a vacation or you have an injury or something or some other part of life is pulling you away, you miss it. And
Yeah,
I
that's
like to
right.
think that in our group that everyone wants to be out there. And so you look at your Cotters lists, you think of who you haven't seen in a while, and every so often we encourage each other to reach out to those guys. You see how they're doing. You want to check on them as a person, but find out what they're doing with their fitness and get them back out.
I want to kind of end with hearing you comment on the last Socratic of the chapter, or the last spur, which says Dredd makes the claim that fitness is best accelerated by running with faster men.
Absolutely.
Thoughts?
Absolutely. Well, I like to think that I'm pretty quick, and I try to put a lot of effort into being at the front of the group. But there are several men that are faster, and I'm not sure if he's not speaking to something else there beyond physical
I
ability.
agree. Yes.
He might be speaking of things like people who are more successful, people who are more organized, people who are smarter. Just
Mhm.
a step or two. You see that they're a step or two ahead of you in other parts of life. But let's just keep it to the fitness aspect. Yeah, you're only going to get better if you work out with somebody faster. Our own Nantan, a few months back, started pre-running with our little group at the boiler room, and at first he was like, "I don't know, guys. I don't know if I can keep up." And I was thinking, "Man, you're doing pretty well."
Mhm.
And next thing you know, it was week after week, he was starting to set personal best for a mile. I think he was down to 8:14, 8:10, 8:09, something like that. Because he's running with Char Grill, myself, Boys to Men. You get
Mhm.
Poppy in there. So that can improve small gains.
Yeah.
Icebox is one. So, small gains in that way. But yeah, you want to help the six. You want to be part of the group, but individually to challenge yourself, you do want to identify those who you believe are faster than you and motivate yourself through their skill set. Try to match it.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's definitely speaking to more than just our speed, but our gain. A lot of our gains in life are when we start running with someone who's a little faster, whether running in business, running in friendship, running with men who've been married longer, or people who've got older kids. But learning from the people that are a step or two ahead just has a way of pulling us up into the front of the pack. So yeah, I'm with you. I would challenge you, Pax, as you're listening. See if you can get a little bit further, closer to the front. See if you can catch Rio a couple times and see what that doesn't do to your physical fitness, and then how that physical fitness might bleed over into the rest of your life. Any parting thoughts or comments as we sign off and leave it to the Pax of their table?
None other than people have echoed recently. Appreciate you doing this. You're taking this source material and you're making it more three dimensional, and we're able to flesh it out, amongst each other here in the table today as you guys watch it. And you can go back and look at this again, see my face, and that'd be kind of fun to go on YouTube. But it's just you're making this a better program.
Oh,
You're making it go faster. You're the faster packs here. So the source material is great. You're reinventing it, and it's going to be very helpful to our region now in the future, and maybe to other regions throughout F3 Nation.
well, it's because guys like you come on here with your wisdom and your experience. And what's also great is we get to hear each other's shared wisdom. A lot of guys have worked out next to you, but to be able to hear your thoughts. Hey, you know what I just remembered? We'd be remiss if you didn't share a quip, a quote, a impersonation of your old high school coach that you shared so many times at the Q Source table last year. Maybe tell us who he was and how it maybe fits in with this topic.
Paul Winslow was an educator in Elizabeth City. He was from that area originally. He went to NC Central. I'm sorry, to A&T, and he was at the Woolworth table counter, not the first group of men, but the second group of men. He was a All-American running back at that level, and he played for Vince Lombardi.
Wow.
And he had a lot of stories I can't repeat, not because of the language, just because of the subject matter. But hey, I've always kind of like this, and he took nothing off anybody, and no one ever crossed the line. I mean, if you came to gym class and you had shorts with pockets in them, and most shorts have pockets.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Anderson, you got any pockets? Go ahead and crab. And you would have to crab the entire period. That was it.
Crab walk the whole period.
So, I mean, he was a driving force, and I mean, like a living legend, driving force all the time in the classroom, in the hallway, on the field. He coached track and football, and he would see you, and he was 50s, let's say 6'7", then, and could outrun us all, most of the guys in the secondary and the linebacking core. And my first practice of senior year, I left my helmet out on the field. I knew I was in trouble. So here it is Monday. I come to school. I'm a rising senior. Should be setting a better example. Did you mind? This helmet just got left out there. I know how it got back, but you need to crab. I had to crab, I think, 12 laps around the basketball court,
What?
like during a 43-minute school period. And and I was a senior. There were some sophomores and juniors. It was a voluntary physical fitness class, mostly for weights. But the thing was, though, as a leader on the team and in like his classroom, not acceptable. So
Yeah.
I feel like he's still there with me every day. Whenever there's something that we're doing that's a challenge, and it's hard, and I don't want to do it, because he was in my mind since fourth grade at the boys' club football, and he was a volunteer there. So from like fourth to 12th grade, he was just a presence. And before that, when my sister was in school, he was always the guy. He was stone cold face, just I mean, you think you're tough, you go up somewhere like Norfolk, and they kill you just as fast as they melt an ice cube and stuff like that. He would tell you that Highway 17, it runs north or runs south. I mean, either way. He just had ways of saying things that you hear all the time that are cliche now, that when he said them, they really had impact. So
Uh,
he's somebody who is constantly honored locally by the media and by different organizations, because he meant so much to so many, and something
uh,
to me every day.
good
Thanks for
deal.
bringing him up.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that impression. We've enjoyed that over the last year or so. So, all right. Well, thanks to Rio Pax. It'll be your day. If there's a particular topic that speaks to you, that you embody, that means something, reach out to me. Hit me up on DM on Slack. We'd love to get a different voice every week to continue to share our collective wisdom. So, Rio, on behalf of all the Packs, thanks for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yep.
Keep posting.
Keep posting.